It is moving day on the KLPGA Tour, the third round of the Sangsangin Hangyang Women's Open. With 108 players in the field and one of the top prize purses of the season at 1.2 billion won. And we have cut the field down from 108 to 67 with some very interesting movement at the top of the leaderboard. Yool-lyn, most notably from a couple of rounds, 71 and 71, to an unprecedented 8 under score through 15 holes. She is currently our leader, with a handful of players still very much in the mix on an important Saturday in Yeongju. Kim Woo-jung driving to begin our coverage today. Over the next 3 hours or so, we will certainly decide our chasing pack and the true contenders heading into the final round of the fourth last event of the 2025 season. 16 degrees and overcast skies in Yeongju. We are at Lakewood, and it's great to be back at Lakewood Country Club after last year. We were at a different venue, but back to where this tournament really got underway. So maybe looking ahead in the crystal ball, this is Yool-lyn from off the green. This is the shot that took her to 10 under par, the first to reach double digits this week. So out of absolutely nowhere, relatively speaking, 1 under on Thursday, 1 under on Friday, and through 15 holes now, adding that, she has picked up 8 strokes to the good. Kim Chae-hee at 7 under at 7. The third shot at the par 5, a par 5 of 478 meters, the shortest of the 4 on the course. Just about pin high with a little backspin to keep her within 3 meters or so for her birdie. Lee Jae-yoon, another player who has really made today her most prolific so far. 4 under if she is able to par here. That was the putt for birdie, currently tied for second, along with Chung Yoon-ji and Kim Woo-jung, right on the doorstep of the #1 spot. Lakewood, of course, a beautiful venue, lots to marvel at. This lie is not one of those particular picturesque scenescapes. A drive that has gone right, deep in the trees, buried in the rough, and this has punch out written all over it. I'll return to that in a few moments. She's obviously going to need to take some time to pick the club and pick the strategy. Park Ji-young in the interim, also at 7 under on the 7th hole. That is tied for 8th position. Back right pin placement today. She's able to find it with 1 stroke of the putter, and she's gone to 8. Birdies at 1, 5, and 7, tied for 5th. She is certainly on the prowl heading into the weekend, where she has typically, over the course of her career, done the best of her business. It's officially 232 for Kim Woo-jung. That's not what we're worried about right now. It's just getting her out and into a much improved lie. Not entirely sure of the outcome of that, but I can guarantee that it's better than when she addressed the ball a few moments ago. Lee Jae-yoon is one of 4 players, pardon me, at 8 under par. That was a chance for birdie. Mystified by the break on that putt, and she still has a tricky one to try to avoid a bogey. This should move a little left to right for Kim Chae-hee, and it's downhill. No set of circumstances too much to overcome. That takes her to 8 under. So the par 5s here at Lakewood, number 4, number 7, and the most important holes of the run in the 15th and the 17th. An uneventful second shot to set up the approach. Now Icheun. Obviously disappointed to drop a stroke. It's her first drop after picking up 4 birdies through the first 6 holes. All right, the flag here, slightly left of the camera tower. You see the blue square, you look down and left. Not really worried about the bunkers. Perimeter to this hole, playing slightly higher than the middle, so that helps her move back towards the center. It's a bit too much club, but the priority was reaching. And she's done exactly that. And Pak Jiang also shot a 71 on Thursday. Really was able to find a mastery of the course yesterday with 5 birdies and a bogey-free round. And today, well, she's carried over that momentum. Already 3 birdies through 7. And she tees off here, pardon me, on the 8th, the first of 4 par 4s in a row. Pak Jun missed the green left, picks this up from the rough, and with that, she mitigates any concerns of losing a stroke. Doesn't even need to go up and down. In one stroke, she holes out and picks up a very unpredictable birdie to improve the score. As uneventful as you'd hope for a drive, she finds the center of the fairway. We'll turn our attention to Hang Jung-mi. She was the story of the day yesterday. 3 under par, she shot 5 birdies and 2 bogeys in the second round, but she has struggled a bit today relative to that wonderful performance. That particular approach is much more like it. Backspin keeps her pin high. Will be putting for a birdie just as Chung Yoon-ji is doing on the 8th. She could move in to a share of the lead. A downhill putt. She was hoping for much more left to right break than that. It comes pretty much at the point at which she was level with the flag. And it's 7, the setup for Pak Bo-gyam. Within 2 of the top, and that's a wonderful foundational shot to look for the birdie. She is, of course, our defending champion. 65 she was able to shoot in the opening round, but an even par 72 yesterday saw her start to move adrift of the chasing pack, but she is right back to her birdieing ways, just as Lee Dong-eun will be hoping to do today. From a 67 on Thursday to a 71 yesterday, she currently sits at 2 under through 8. And we'll be hoping for par here on number 8. Our leader, Yool-lyn, remarkably up 30 positions already. This is her approach. Only a trio of holes still to be played. In the right corner of the hole here. And this is Kim Woo-jung. Fourth shot on the 7th. Starting this towards the fringe, hits the hill around the middle of that putt, and without enough speed, pardon me. She still has a bit more than a tap in to save the par. And now Park Ji-young, 10 wins in her career, but not yet in victory lane in 2025. She has finished as a runner-up this season. That was all the way back in May at the major championship, the 47th KLPGA championship. But from her 22 events, 7 top 10 finishes. She's only missed the cut once. Is this the week where everything finally clicks for the veteran? Yool-lyn, she has never reached the summit on the KLPGA Tour. Last year at the Takushin EPC Seoul Economics Ladies Classic, she shared a runner-up spot, and that was a career best. So we'll wonder for the next 26 or 27 hours if this is a flash in the pan or we are witnessing something special for Yool-lyn. Not the putt, not the break she was after. She'll hopefully settle for par. And this season, you'd look at the results and say, well, we didn't really see a holistic coming together as a possibility. 2 missed cuts back in late August, early September. She hasn't cracked the top 10 since the OK Savings Bank OK Man Open. There's something special about the Saturday, and we will enjoy it for every hole that persists. Here at the par 5, Hung Jung-mi picks up another birdie. So that brings her to the 8 under par at which she started this day. She has 10 holes to go to try to put some of the pressure back on our leader. Final hole on the front 9 for Sung Eugene, 6 under and 6 iron. Most of the way back she wants to go, 6 yards from the right fringe. I think she'll be happy with that. Now Kim Woo-jung to avoid a bogey at 7 and stay in the runner-up position. Didn't quite have the read. So it will become a 7-player tie for third. And it will leave Chung Yun-ji as the sole runner-up. At least for now. Park Ji-young putting back towards the front left corner. Downhill about the midway point of the putt before rising back up towards the fringe. She's about 2 meters short. 3 birdies already today at 1, 5, and 7. With a bogey at 2 to wrap up her first 8 holes. With Kim Woo-jung likely dropping, she swaps spots with Park Bo-gyum. Back-to-back birdies for the defending champion through 7 holes today. This is a can't miss putt for Kim Woo-jung. That's the bogey. Down to dash 8 with an approach shot gone awry. Chaeun for 9 under as well. Right to left breaking putt. It sweeps across the face of the cup. Have about 3 feet remaining on what is essentially a tap-in for her par. We'll go back to the 8th, Kim Chae-hee. Less than a meter inside the fringe in the corner. This should break strongly right to left. Starts right to left, straightens out, and actually moves a bit back towards the fringe at the end. Bo-gyum away on the 8th. Sung Eugene officially at the turn. 35 is her score. With the birdie at the 7th and all pars the rest of the way. A fast start to moving day Saturday here at Lakewood. Yool-lyn has a 1-stroke lead over Chung Yun-ji, Park Bo-gyum as well. And half a dozen at 8 under par, very much in the mix. Settle in. 3 hours of KLPGA Tour coverage coming your way today. We're grateful to have you with us at Lakewood, and we'll be back after the break. And welcome back here at the 8th. Pak Bo-gyam unable to find the green with that approach. Depth would have been more than okay had she been just a little bit more left located with that wedge shot. There are 3 holes remaining for Yool-lyn. A 1-stroke advantage here on her final par 3. Pin today is aligned with the top of the left bunker. Able to land about that pin high level, but couldn't keep it close. Difficult to do too as well with the iron. Less backspin possible, so she will be likely putting twice for par. All right, let's see how Kim Woo-jung fares at the 8th. 6-iron for her. Front left located, the pin today, and we're seeing a handful very good setup shots. Pak Jiang using just about every available meter of the fairway. Goes left with the drive. Pak Yang now. Downhill putt for birdie to take her to 5 under par. Little right to left break. And that is officially half the way towards the lead. It takes her a dozen holes, but she finally has a birdie on her scorecard today. From short of the green, it's Pak Bo-gyam to a position that she should feel okay about for her par. So drive to the middle of the fairway. Now Pae So-hyun adds a marvelous putt. Something to build around. Certainly the back 9. Just her second birdie of the afternoon. She'll hope that that's a sign of things to come here on the Flower Path course at Lakewood. Wasn't quite this long in terms of what Lee Dong-eun is facing. Straightening out, and with a bit more speed, it might have been there. Par is a guarantee. About 6 meters for Kim Woo-jung for her birdie. Downhill to start, it rises at the end. Had the speed, didn't have the line. Park June unable to hit the turn with the birdie. Here is our leader. Speed picks up as she reaches the downslope. Remarkably straight. But with the benefit of retrospect, not much movement left nor right. Just a few centimeters for her par. And that leaves her with 2. Park Bo-gyam to stay within 1. She didn't look thrilled with the setup shot to that part, but ultimately the veteran steals her nerves and avoids dropping anything. Park Ji-young, the last time this tournament was at Lakewood, it only happened once. Back in 2023, she was only under par once, and that was on Thursday. Channeling her absolute very best, at least to start this third round. Here's Kim Chae-hee with a 7-iron. It's 135, her second shot at the 9th. Goes right beside the flag. Very well done. So as we reach the bottom of the clock, we can set the leaderboard up as such. It's Yool-lyn through 16 holes, a 1-stroke advantage over Chung Yoon-ji and Park Bo-gyam, who just saved her par. Park Hae-jun, Lee Dong-eun, Lee Chae-eun, Park Ji-young, and Hang Jung-mi, along with Kim Chae-hee and Kim Woo-jung. Those are the players all tied for 4th position. As we continue our coverage here in Yangju, we'll take a break and be back with more at the Sangsangin Hangyang Wownet Open. It will return in a few minutes. And welcome back. A very common aim point here on the par 4. Young's group just had gone through those motions. Facing about a 5-meter left to right breaking putt for a birdie. And the movement was there. The initial aim point left a little to be desired, though. Kim Jung with the stage next at 9. Tied for 4th now after 8 holes. Over the course of the week, this par 4. She is trying to use it as a vaulting point in terms of her birdies. Now Peisoyan lands and stays almost in the exact same spot with a short putt for birdie coming up next. And Amy Jung, 67 to start this tournament. She was racing up towards the top spots. It has cooled down ever so slightly. It's a great setup though. Her 9, Kim Chae-hee for a birdie. If she converts here, she will have already matched what she was able to do on each Thursday and Friday. That's a lot of break, a bit too much of it, in fact. Close calls don't count in this sport, unfortunately. Needed to be pinpoint precise with that putt. There's a little left for her par, though. Kim Jung very much left after her drive, but a clear shot at the hole, 166 to play. Needs to be 30 yards deep past the fringe. That's where she lands, and here's the run. She's not going to be thrilled. She almost needs to punt that onto the fringe with her next, but I suppose that is a quandary for her to figure out in a few minutes' time. It's a 5-iron for Pak Bo-kyam. Starts this significantly more to the left. She'll roll a bit towards the center, but almost all the way to the back. Pin high with work to do. quite enough on that putt. She marks off, and Pei So-hyun will need one more. She's an easy player to spot with that trademarked fox head ball marker. This is Zimi Jung for 7 under par. She'd be knocking on the door of the top 10 with a make here. It would be one of her most impressive of the afternoon. A formidable try, we can call it that. This is Peng Xin at the 15th. The birdie that takes her to 6 under par. Now on pace for her best round of the week thus far, nearing in on a top 10 position. So with that, she goes to a tie for 13th at 6 under. A score that we currently have 7 players now at. It is an overcast day here in Yangzhou. It's Lakewood Country Club opening up back in 1972, and the second time it has hosted the Sangsangin Hangyang Wownet Open. Peng Min-ji standing over a putt at hole number 13. This is for 5 under, plays it firm, takes a lot of the break out of it. Will be a par. Well, the back 9 begins for Park Ji-young. A 354-meter par 4. Well, after 45 holes, Kim Jae-hee also at that 8 under score. It is her first on the Flower Path course. The chasing pack has the benefit of time. Yool-lyn does not have that. This is the penultimate hole for her already. Looking to be slightly mid-left. She's very left, but depth-wise, very little in the complaints bucket. And now Kim Woo-jung. Gonna be a really interesting putt. It's gonna move heavily right to left. I was only half joking when I said she would need to aim for the fringe. She might have grazed those blades of grass. And with the benefit of hindsight, perhaps didn't need that much extra space to the right of the flag with the speed at which she played the putt. It was a pretty good try, all things considered. Well, that is absolutely divine. It is almost a hole out. Park Bo-gyum. With the birdie here, she reaches the turn level. So 34 with 2 birdies and no bogeys. That is more than satisfactory for the defending champion. Go, shouts the gallery. That's a really good first putt. Here at the 10th green, it's Chung Yoon-ji. Decent first attempt. She has the most to do out of the 3 after the birdie putts. It is a less than fruitful hole, we can say that. Here's a Yool-lyn. A putt for 11 under par. Always felt just a little bit unlikely, didn't it? Kim Woo-jung is able to save her par at the 9th. Now Yool-lyn, this is about 4 meters to save the par. No difficulty securing that par. She will head to the 18th and final hole. Still with the slimmest of advantages, the 1 stroke. That is right at the flag, and she will have her just rewards if she can convert upon a 3-meter putt for a birdie. Up playing that second shot here at the par 4. On an overcast Saturday in Yeongju. Park Ji-young with a 7-iron. Her second shot here at the 10th, just avoiding the bunker off the tee. We see where she ends up. Actually, it's rolling back a little bit down that hill. And we also see how far she is away from the flag. Jin Sun, a putt to take her to 6 under par. Doesn't need much on it. She is very much knocking on the door of the top 10 now. We could rattle off all the names that she is sharing that position with, but it would take her longer than it will take Yi Chae-eun to play this putt for birdie. This is for 9 under, and that will fall as well. Joint runner-up now with 5 birdies on the afternoon so far. She is in a wonderful run of form. bit of a perplexing one. Now Kim Jae-hee. Not even from the run, pardon me, from the fringe this run in, but from the rough. And she has some company there. With an even less desirable lie, it's Chung So-hee, nearly in the sand, showing a great touch around the green. Kim Min-byul, 4 birdie at 15. Just didn't quite have the vision of the break there, starting that well inside left. It eventually got to the point at which he hoped it would, but probably 5 meters too late. All right, Kim Jae-hee is ready. Bouncing twice through the fringe and stopping almost millimeters short of her birdie. Just, oh, I'll keep the wedge. Doesn't need much. It is officially a par. Bo-kyung first in the group to tee off. Sends that towards the left side of the fairway here. Kim Woo-jung next at the 10th. It's a lengthy putt, and the birdie nearly found despite that. Let's go 50. Lee So-young, fractionally inside the fringe as she putts for 6 under, and it's downhill. Speed won't be the issue. A putt, excellently judged. She picks up 4th birdie of round and moves to 6 under with 3 holes to play. Park Hae-jun is next. 58-degree wedge is the club of choice. Lands on the fringe and stays put. Now Yool-lyn, setup shot at the 18th, her final hole, which means she has one last chance to pad that advantage of hers. Back left corner, the pin is placed today. She does a pretty good job of getting most of the way there. Within a foot or two from that birdie. A setup that she can absolutely be proud of. A few extra moments to prepare for the shot. That wasn't something that would have even crossed her mind. She went right at the flag. But this shot is short and she is in the sand. No such difficulties there. In a comfortable position, putting back down towards the fringe for the birdie. And that will leave one. Kim Woo-jung. Yes, pin high she lands, and she'll be putting from 2.5 meters for birdie, which is just about automatic range for her. Fascinating shot here at 18, Yool-lyn. It is 6.5 meters, and the putt is from above the hole. Stays straight until the end, turns and drops. A round to remember, a scorecard to frame, 31 out, 32 in, 63, 9 under par, and a 2-stroke advantage. There might have been a day that comes close, but in terms of output, this might be the best in Yool-lyn's career. What an incredible round of golf this afternoon we just saw. Park Young, who recently picked up her first birdie of the afternoon plays that wedge shot in close. It will essentially be, pardon me, a tap in for the birdie. Well, just when you thought we couldn't get any closer than the first two shots that we had seen, we have a third. That is a meter, 2 meter at the most radius around the hole. 3 birdies on order when we come back from a break. So Yool-lyn officially at 63 through 18 holes. It is a 2-stroke advantage over Icheon, Chung Yoon-ji, Pak Bo-gyam, and then the rest of the chasing pack, Pak Hae-jun, Lee Dong-eun, and Kim Woo-jung, all at 8 under par. But can anyone even come close? It will be tricky. 9 under, I believe, up there for a course record as well. We'll take a break and be back with more here at the Lakewood Country Club on a Saturday on the KLPGA Tour. It is 2:13 p.m. local time, and what a way to come back Jungmi with a nicely played birdie. Kim Jae-hee, despite losing the handle on the club with her second shot, she still is able to keep it good and close. This is Pak Bo-gyam, breaks just a bit too early. Defending champion settles for a 2-putt par as we head out to the next. Number 12 with Lee Jae-yoon. This is in the thick rough. Plays that through the fringe and takes a lot of the remaining speed out of the shot. Be about a 3-footer for par. Simple finish for Kim Woo-jung for the par. Don't think it would be unfair to call this simple for Bae So-hyun as she looks to improve to 8 under. Didn't read the break right at all though, and left a stroke on the table. Well, unfortunately, if there was a symbol for how this tournament has gone so far for Park Jung-kyung, it would be that. Just about perfectly there, but lacking in the end product. She misses an obvious putt for birdie, let's be fair. Lee Mi-jung with a wonderful finish to this hole as she picks up another stroke to the good. Kim Ji-sun finally is able to get back into her birdieing ways, and a sigh of relief, I think, suggests as much. The par secured is over at the 10th. We, meanwhile, are off to 11. Blasted drive right down the middle of the fairway. Right at this flag and a little backspin to bring it to a complete halt. Less than a yard or two away. Here's Kim Woo-jung. Downhill putt that breaks the wrong way at the last moment. Very similar putt and a very similar result. Over 2 from the front right corner of the green.
난 그래서 차라리 러프여서 아까 땡큐 스킨 불러오니까 쓰겠다 이랬는데 그냥 쓰네? 저게
Bit of a head scratcher, that miss. Lee Dong-eun still without a birdie since the first 2 holes. And yet, because of her excellent work early in this tournament, still tied for 5th. Over to 12, Chung So-hee, 8 iron. Pin today about mid-right of this green. Chung So-hee's tee shot stuck on the front in the fringe. Park Ji-young will go next, the 12, 7 under and 7 iron. she's technically on, but won't be much happier than Jung So-lee with that tee shot.
좀 멈춰주세요 이제 시작할게요.
Well, that is going to be much further down. Loops around back towards the middle. It's a very aggressive pin today from the tournament committee. Pin high, but the wrong side of the green. Let's see how she is able to fare from there. The next on the par 3 finds the green. It's all smiles after a long-awaited return to her birdieing ways. Not to be outdone. A little left to right breeze. She sends that approach to within 3 meters. And with that, it's time for a quick look at how things are shaping up. Yool-lyn still holding a 1-stroke advantage, but Chung Yoon-ji is hot on her heels through 12 holes, only 1 stroke back. The same score today as Lee Chae-eun, 4 under through 12 in that same group. And Hung Jung-mi, who was our leader yesterday, has actually lost ground. She's +1 through 10, and we will be keen to see how her back 9 shapes up after a break. Stick with us, more from Lakewood in just a few minutes. Well, we proudly welcome you back to our coverage on this Saturday afternoon. With a never-ending putt, it seems. That thing is still moving. And likely won't stop until it reaches the fringe. Not what Kim Woo-jung had in mind, that's for sure. Jaehoon, who also fails to find pay dirt. The putt that requires one more. Now Pan Chin-chil already at the 18th. The supporters were ready to erupt, and they were given something to cheer for, certainly. The second putt, Kim Woo-jung also not able to find the bottom of the cup, and this hole just gets longer and longer by the minutes. Jung-min starting this well left. She was our leader after one round. She basically disappeared yesterday, and as we look at the scorecard, we see it's 3 birdies now, but 7 under has her 4 back. Last week's champion. I mean, last week she only needed 54 holes to win. This week it's back to 72 holes to determine a champion, so we absolutely can't count her out yet. Sun, it's 2.5 meters with a little right to left break. She birdies. 2 on either side of a bogey at 14. She's now at 6 under par. After a miss, we come back to 12, Kim Chae-hee. Sails that past the cup by a few meters even. Well, it's +3 for Yoo Hyo-ju. This is her 18th and final hole of the afternoon. Obviously, the day not going the way that she would have hoped it would. Into the crosswind. The backspin brings her to what we'll call 6 meters away from the pin. It's a par 12.
느낌만 보는 양에 따라서 정하고 결론은
Here's Pakpo at the 12th pin. Eight iron is her club of choice. It's been a difficult pin to reach at times today. Excellent putt for a birdie for Hung Yumin. She finds 3 of them in the round today. 35 outs and in, 2 under. Heading into tomorrow's final round. Pake June started inside and stayed inside. Two putts gets her there. Birdie as well for Peng Shin-shil. A very pleasant way to end the day. She picks up 5 of them today and finishes tied for 6th after 54 holes. $166 meters for Sangsangin, and she needs to climb 7 to get to the pin. Lyman's up on the fringe. The wind is calm, the flag barely flapping. Yool-lyn could go to 9 under with this birdie putt. Lips up the left side. She'll feel as though she needs to go visit a shaman tonight before the final round. Still without birdies since the first 2 holes, and it was a perfect start, but that has since very much cooled off. Unchanged at the top, though, Pakpo has made it 1, 2, 3 in order after 11 holes of play today. It is Yool-lyn, the story of the day thus far, with lots of time still for another player to make their impact on a Saturday on the KLPGA Tour. Time for a break. We'll be back with more on the other side. Stay with us. Well, we are picking things up with Park Ji-young, who, from the border of the fairway, plays her approach down onto the green. And that is a well-struck tee shot down into the middle of the fairway to get the hole underway. Park Bo-gyeom's first shot leaves a little to be desired. Let's go over to 12 with Park Bo-gyeom trying to stay at 9 under. Best sound you could possibly imagine. The rattle of a par well made. Here's Park Ji-young, 8 under if she is able to reach. So break rather significantly left to right. Two putts gets her there. Jaeun 8.8 meters to avoid a bogey. This is potentially a huge shot in the reality of her round, and she's able to go without dropping. 5 birdies, 2 bogeys today, tied for 4th at 8 under. A bit too conservative, wasn't she? Go shouts the gallery. It's because they wanted the ball to clear the fringe. It does that just. But as soon as she lands on the green, Park Hae-jun heads left. Dungin always one of the most followed, pardon me, players on the course. Well, somewhere beneath the trees is Dungin. There she is, 178 is her distance remaining here at the par 4 14th. Fortunately for her, she doesn't need to go far on the green, just needs to get there. She reached for a little more, but will be the only one in the group to come up just a bit short. Gyum, to the delight of the supporters, unleashes a powerful drive. She is just narrowly missed the fairway and into the rough. It's a tee shot at 18. Always want to finish the round regardless of how it's gone on a high. See what Park Ji-young can muster up. The answer is a very solid opening strike to begin this hole. Kim Chae-hee, last to begin the 14th. Is an arrow, straight as you'd like. We're nearing the end of our second hour of coverage at the Lakewood Country Club, and there is not a whole lot in the way of activity at the top end of the leaderboard. A lot of players holding firm. No one yet to reach a Yool-lyn, though we still have a handful of holes in a final hour and change to see if that can still transpire. next to play at 13 is Hong Jung-mi, 140 as she steadies herself in the rough. She had no problem reaching the green. Her issue came from staying on it. Kim Woo-jung should have no such troubles from her position in the fairway. If anything, it's a little bit short as she lands on the right side of the green. Bokyam going about her business steadily. We'll head to the 18th. Kim Min-byul overhit the green. She's in the hillside rough, just a little tap as she chips it down into the hillside and works that to within 2.5 meters or so. Park Hyun-kyung closing in on the top 10. She's through 17 holes now. She has made 15 pars and 2 birdies today. And Hong Jung-min, that's gonna go. Quietly, she picks up a 4th birdie. It's back-to-back as well as last week's champion is once again inside of the top 5. Lee Dong-eun will also be chipping from her perch above the pin, the front left side of the green. A little more shallow than what she would have needed. Par is no guarantee. Suppose that's technically true for Kim Min-byul, but we'll address the ball from a much closer distance. Well, the par keeps her 5 back of the top spots heading into Sunday, equaling her week-long best of a 69. She is 6 under after 54 holes. And on 14, Puck June for a birdie to take her to 8 under. I believe that will go as her longest of the day and is all of a sudden within 3 of number 1. It is a lengthy putt for Pak Bo-gyam, over 14 meters away. Waiting for that ball to curl in, back online. It does so just as it runs out of velocity. Yool-lyn continues to chase that putter. It has been her Achilles heel this week. It's not even just failing to make par, it's missing out on a shot at it. Takes her to a net -1 with only a few holes left on moving day. And Kim Woo-jung would have never expected anything much more than this. The setup for a par on the 14th hole. As par comes the shouts from the gallery. Chung Yoon-ji all business as she struts over to the next. But that is an important save in the context of her title aspirations. She had been buried in the sand. She is at least get back onto the green. She is ready. This will be Pak Bo-gyam for par. She's And a tee shot here at 18 that looked like it was destined for the sand. And with a lot of clouds and a cool breeze on the wind, I don't think a trip to the beach is what she necessarily had in mind. Nor was this for Park Ji-young. Look how much she's choked down on the club. Awkward one with the ball so high above her feet in her stance. She does very well from that precarious situation, though. That is something to be celebrated. Buoyed by the birdie at the last, Park Ji-young fires one of her best shots of the day in to set up what she hoped will be a round-ending birdie. So Yool-lyn with a birdie at 17. She has stayed bogey-free, but that is only her third pickup of the round. Coming through the 18th tee. There's Kim Chae-hee. This is probably her longest par putt of the round. It's a pretty good ride, but ultimately a bit too far.
앞에 멈춰주세요. 거기까지만. 네, 알겠습니다.
Park Bo-gyum first in the group to drive. Delivers a dart down the middle of the fairway. This is Park Ji-young coming awfully close. Throws her head back in despair, it will feel like. Tap at the putter, gets her the rest of the way.
Okay, shot.
Hwang Jung-mi with one more drive on the day. It is number 18. It is not a day that she would have hoped it would be. Certainly when she finished the round yesterday and when she arrived today. Cheon could reach 9 under with a birdie at the 15th. That is job done, and just a trio of holes remaining on this moving day Saturday. For Park Young, who does find a third birdie. It is close to her tournament best 68 on Thursday. Most importantly, as she heads into tomorrow's final round, she was able to go bogey-free today. And welcome to hole number 15. All right, down into the bullseye, the social contribution targets for this tournament. Park Ji-young is away well. And Kim Chae-hee goes next. She'll play 2 par 5s over the course of the next 3 holes. That's a fairway in regulation off the tee. She appears down directly over the bunker at the flag. Park Bo-gyum did the job with her tee shot. And now she tries to set up a birdie, playing a 6-iron. It's a little bit short and then it kicks right. June has to mark off. Well, that won't have any problems arriving on the green. A well-played setup. And we'll turn our attention now to Jung Yoon-ji. She becomes a co-leader with a birdie here. It's an excellent read, just needed a little more to the left. An understandable roar at number 15. G plays a delightful approach over the water. Set up what should become a birdie. There's Kim Soo-ji, who is at 4 under. She was the runner-up last year, falling by 1 stroke to Park Bo-gyam after 72 holes. It's more than just serviceable. It's a great tee shot. She's had so many of these chances today, and so rarely have they gone for birdie. So this one will feel like a Herculean result. It is her first birdie since the 2nd hole. She's back to 2 under for the round, Lee Dong-eun. Bo-gyam swings a bit too hard. Yes, she's up on the green, but she didn't land until she was already level with the pin. Will be an uncomfortable par putt, I'm sure. Cheon looking for 9 under, late movement. Will end up as a par. In the sand at 14, Kim Woo-jung dribbles that through the greenside fairway, but wasn't enough to slow it down. She'll need that putt to avoid bogeying. most steady performers of the last decade, Kim Soo-ji. To call her career simply enviable would still feel like an understatement. She has been a non-factor this week. That would have taken her up to 5 under, but she stays at 4, which means she stays 7 back. On 18, it's Sogyo Reem. 7.7, she's at 7 under. And the break was perfect. She would have been there with just a fraction more speed. She'll have to settle for a par. It is the end of her 54th hole, and it's her best round of the week so far. A 69 as she finishes tied for 8th as she walks off the 18th green. Lengthy putt for Kim Woo-jung now, trying to avoid a bogey. Just a hair too much break. Outside of the top 10 now, she has not birdied since the second hole. Similar to Lee Dong-eun, but unfortunately for one of the most exciting players yesterday, it is now +2 for the round. Pang Min-ji on the 18th. Has the birdie. Triumphant. She's been waiting since hole number 5. It is a 71 here on Saturday. Here in the background, the applause for Pang Min-ji moments ago as Park Bo-gyeom addressed her ball. Downhill, 4.5 meters with break. Trying to avoid dropping down to 8 under par. What a putt that is. Stays in sole possession of third, Park Bo-gyeom. That is 7 pars in a row, and that was one of, if not the toughest, that she's had to make all day long. Next is Park Ji-young, attacking the flank and coming up with more than just an adequate approach. Be satisfied with that on. Bogey yesterday for Lee Dong-eun here at 16, but on Thursday she birdied this hole. Gives it a nice little run towards the center of the green. And now Han-Jin Sun, 114 meters to go. Looking left over the pond near the clubhouse. Yeah, that's something special. How does Hong Jung-min follow suit? From the highest of highs to a low feeling after yesterday, a birdie here would take her within 2 strokes, and we'd have to very much think about her as a contender on Sunday. Every member of this group should be particularly tickled with those approach shots. Well done. Dissatisfaction from Chung Yoon-ji. And that would be why. I think she'd almost prefer to be in the sand than that thick rough. That's a tough one off the tee, and the hybrid is handed back to her caddy with some understandable frustration on her face. On the 9th tee, Hanbin Na is destined for the sands. Her 18th and final hole of the round at 1 under.
똑같아.
This is Pak Bo-kyum, the first to tee off on 15 from her group. Pardon me, not the first that we see, however. She goes level with her group mates, just shy of the bullseye in the middle of the fairway. Leaves Hung Jung-mi. It's the perfect line. 1, 2, and 3 side by side by each. That's another driven shot at the 9th. Looks destined for the sand. It's in such a tricky position. And I suppose that's kind of the point, isn't it? Void it left here in the rough. Void it right. Tricky to find that tight window. Speaking of tight windows, trying to get up and down from the fairway just off the green. Never an easy feat. A quick chip and a quick putt, and the par is secured. Sun putting for a birdie at 18 and making a birdie at 18. 4 of them today to go along with her 2 bogeys. It is a 70 in round 3 and 7 under after 3. Chun Sung-hee gets in on the fun. Up to 6 under with that make. That is her first birdie of the round. It just took her 15 holes. Jungmin with a make here, starts tomorrow, 2 back of the leads. She lost her putter yesterday, 73, 66 and 69 in the first and third rounds mean she will very much be a contender tomorrow, looking to galvanize her position at the top of the money list and try to close that gap in the points. Park Ji-young, as she lifted her head to look towards that putt, she sees it sailing to the right. Having just avoided the bunker. That was the setup shot for Chung Yoon-ji. Bogyam's second disappears beneath the fairway. Tucked in close, Lee Dong-eun. Well, as we reach 3:34 p.m. local time, we are starting to see some separation and a clearer picture of what tomorrow's leaderboard might look like, at least to start Championship Sunday. Pang Chin-sil and Park Young-kyung amongst those who are now in the clubhouse. A bogey-free 69 for Park Young-kyung. And Yool-lyn's lead remains safe, at least for another commercial break. Will that change on the other side? Well, you'll just have to stick around to find out. This is the Sangsangin Hanggyang Wownet Open, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. It is our pleasure to welcome you back to Moving Day Saturday. The Sangsangin Wownet Open. Yool-lyn is at 9 under par now, still with a couple of holes to try to catch Yool-lyn. It's about half a dozen without a birdie. It is 1, 2, 3 in a line as Kim Woo-jung gets in on the fun. Despite a lack of blue skies and sunlight, like we were spoiled with on Thursday, it is at least quite comfortable out on the course today, and no rain is always a plus. We have 1.2 billion won in the purse this week, and 108 players who had initially began this tournament. After 2 rounds yesterday, we were able to cut that down quite significantly. Only the best of the best remain. Green, it's Kim Woo-jung. She should want to start this above the pin. Coming back down and ending up with a long-awaited birdie. It has been 13 holes, and that's not an exaggeration. 2/3 of the round without putting a circle on the scorecard. I understand why there is a smile plastered on her face. Jung at 17.1 meters. Her birdie putt at the 16th. Distance-wise, it was just about perfect. Her miss is right as she quite helpfully gestures for us. Pak Bo-gyum here at 15 could move within 1. Swooping and diving. Missing inside left. Kim Jae-hee trying to avoid a bogey. It's always going to be difficult to ask. Basically, 80% at least of the width of this green. We'll go to 18. Got a few of these, and they never get less impressive to see. Chung So-hee. She's 5 back with 3 to play. Putt to take her to 7 under. Will be right to left. Speed is not the issue. Just gave herself a bit extra to the outside. As far as right, 2 holes to play. Be outdone. A second shot at 18, following closely in the footsteps. This is what Pak Jiyoung has left for her par. Trying to stay at 6 under. She heard or saw something off in the distance. She decides not to risk it. Step out, reset, and try again. Oh, it's nicely played. All right, with one more tee shot having been played further down the course, we can return to 16. That's a very excited canine supporter of the KLPGA Tour somewhere off in the background. Seemingly, they know that it's time to let Kim Chae-hee take this putt. Undaunted by a Barker too. It is a par save. Well, on the 17th, Chung Yun-ji with a long, meandering putt that almost ends up with the most unlikely of birdies. One little tap to finish it all off. And back to the 18th with Pae So-hyun. This is a putt for bogey, so she's going down. It's just a matter of how much. 5.3 meters. Can't get it there. So it's a double drop. She's 3 under after 54 holes, tied for 30th. Bogeys at 5 and 10, bogeys at 14 and 15, and double bogey here after the penalty. Yool-lyn teeing off at the 18th and setting that drive down into the fairway. We'll turn our attention back to the 16th. This is Kim Woo-jung. Bo-kyung watching on, ready to take her spot on the tee block. She is not hoping to take her spot on the sand trap, though. This is left. Sangsangin with a drive and a blast to the right of center in the fairway. Where's the dog? Bark. One more factor to deal with today. Park Ji-young has a dog on her scorecard. Her back right pocket, maybe she can put in a good word. She has birdied this 17th each of the 2 rounds so far this week. And showing no signs of deviating from that norm that she has set. She's done well. This was a few moments ago. Park Bo-kyung, she has decided on a 5-iron. Well, I imagine she'll prefer to be there than Kim Woo-jung in the sand, but still not quite where she would have wanted it to be. Jung has a putt that would take her to 6 under. Catches the slightest piece at the outside of that cup, but it's not going to fall. That had left Wang Jung-mi on the tee. She was also able to find the green, but shallow as well. So the second shot at number 18. we go to 17 with Park Ji-young. On the par 5, she drives at second. The 3-wood in hand into the fairway, pardon me, further along, setting up an approach. With our featured group on 16, just a little half swing, keeping the club face well behind her arms, just dragging that through onto the green. Doing a decent job at it. Jung, it's 2 putts to get her to her par. Chae-in hoping it's 1 putt to get her to her birdie to trail by just 1 stroke, but she's misread the putt. It's gone missed to the left. That is a huge opportunity that she lets go by the wayside, and for Yool-lyn, I'm sure watching on somewhere in the clubhouse or back at the hotel, she will be A-okay with that result. This needs to start well to our right. But that didn't move hardly an inch until it was already past the hole. A lot of speed, she puts through the break. It'll be a tricky par save coming up next. So Eugene can finish at 7 under. If I had to guess, be almost a full meter to the left of the pin to start the putt, and it will swoop right back on line. That's if everything goes the way she envisions. It has indeed. And then Sung Eugene with just 1 birdie on the front and back 9 at 7 and 18. Be a more than satisfactory afternoon at the office for her. Comes Park Bo-gyeom. The break actually goes left to right instead of right to left. Despite a quiet and at times frustrating day for Lee Dong-eun, she can end on a birdie, start the round tomorrow within 2. That would be A-okay. This is her setup on the 18th. A little short, it's a little right, but not insurmountable. Next to come through and approach at 18. It was Chung Yoon-ji who goes to the back left corner of the green. And that will leave Park Jun. It's only 107 meters to go though. She has a pitching wedge. She should be able to work this close. Disappointingly, she's the furthest from the pin in the group. She looks down at the face of that pitching wedge, wondering, what did I do wrong? The next shot to bring you is Kim Chae-hee. It is her third, the par 5 17th. Probably call that 6.5, 7 meters away, but dead center of the putting surface. It's Park Ji-young. You can see this fairway has been chewed up today. A lot of drives to around this distance. Not many approaches better than that though. Splits her group mates and goes closest. She should absolutely be thinking about nothing more than birdie. Nothing less than birdie, of course, pardon me. Take an aerial view above this 17th hole. At 491 meters, it is the second longest on the course, trailing just the par 5 fourth. Defending champ is away first. And while Park Bo-gyum is away, will go away, but just for a few minutes. Chung Yoon-ji is on the 18th green. She could move into a share of the lead with a birdie. Hong Jung-min really stabilized things today. She shoots a 68, the same as Lee Chae-yoon. And Park Bo-gyum, our defending champion, also at that 8 under score. Park Yang-kyung, Han Shin-sun, Sung Eugene, and So Gyo-reem rounding out the top 10 at Lakewood. Pleased to welcome you back with our featured group. Working on their second shots at the par 5 17th. We can head to the par 5's green. And we can see a very valiant try issued by Park Jun, who has a long walk around to avoid stepping in Chung Yun-ji's line. Of course, by 17 in the 18th green. We gave it a solid effort on a day that was solid in its own right. 3 birdies and 1 bogey for a 70 on moving day. Kim Chae-hee from above the hole, right to left, perfectly on line. And a birdie celebrated by both she and her supporters. It is her first of the back 9 and her first since hole number 7. Chung Yun-ji can tie Yool-lyn with a birdie here. Get in the hole. Changes directions ever so slightly as she makes contact with the inside left edge. But ultimately, she will be a chaser instead of the chased, at least to start the round tomorrow. Park Ji-young at 17, no such difficulties. Moving into the top 10. That is 1 under for the round today with 3 bogeys and now 4 birdies. Another close call. This time off the club face. Dong-in. So she taps in that par and we review the day that was. We see the perfect start. Birdie birdie. 1 more birdie on the back 9 and a bogey as well to finish with a 70 on Saturday. Kim Woo-jung playing her approach from the rough left of the fairway. Get a bit of a helpful J-hook in that she rolls to the back and does a little loop. Doesn't come down as close as she would have hoped. Over to the 18th tee, this is Kim Chae-hee.
shot.
So pretty easy to agree with the assessment of that tee shot. It's a good one. Pak Bok-yam has the green light at 17. First of 2 shots from almost this identical location. Here he goes pin high and will be more than satisfied. I birdie here, I birdie the last, and Sunday suddenly becomes a whole lot more interesting.
굿샷.
Jiang sends that drive slightly wide of the right fairway. We'll see what a lie in the rough does for her club selection in a few moments. But first, keen interest on Chung Yun-ji, who's trying to avoid a bogey. She delivers in the clutch to avoid dropping a stroke, equalizing her best round of the week so far. That came on Thursday. She will begin tomorrow's final round only trailing by 1 stroke. This is Hong Jung-mi. Skipping twice and coming to a rest. Oh, let's call that 9 meters past the pin. Well, we are near the end of our season on the KLPGA's Senior Tour. Dream Tour, of course, is also going about their business, trying to deliver the next wave of regulars.
너무너무 좋은데 끝나고 나니까 더 떨리는 것 같아요. 일단 마지막 차전 우승으로 왕중왕전 가게 됐으니까 이 기세 몰아서 왕중왕전도 우승으로 끝내보겠습니다.
Trying to receive a 34th place finish on the Dream Tour to make the jump was Chae Jung-won, winning the 2025 Muan Country Club All For You Dream Tour's 18th round. It's 123 meters for Park Ji-young from the rough, so this will play like 140 almost, uphill as well. Navigating those variables. We'll go back to the 18th in a few moments, but first, Kim Woo-jung putting for birdie at 17. Uphill end to this putt. Once again, the weight judged so well. This is what we saw lined up. Chung So-hee, 113 with her heels in the water. She's going to need some dry socks. But that's okay because she avoids the penalty and reaches the green in 2. And that leaves Kim Chae-hee 110. By the looks of things, closest to the pin, though nobody is necessarily threatening after their 2 shots of the 18th. Kim Woo-jung waits for her partner to tap in. Now it's her turn. With 2 holes to play, she still has time, Pak Bo-gyam, to match Yool-lyn in the top spot, but she needs to birdie both. This is a very good opportunity to take the first step towards 11 under. Wasn't quite on the line from the very beginning. She's disappointed because she knew it right away. Wasn't oozing with confidence. She approached that putt, and it is now 10 holes in a row with just par. She has done very well to avoid bogey, of course, but she also hasn't been able to move up, considering she's contending with someone who shot a 63 today. That math does leave her in a trailing position. .7 for Pak Jeong at the 18th. A make would be considered a big bonus. It's tracking really well, isn't it? Oh! Awfully close to the perfect results. So 71, 67, 71 is her story through 54 holes. One more look at this incredibly close call. Would have been up there for putts of the week. Get right, she tried to will into existence, but alas. At the very least, though, she wouldn't have been watching from directly behind this angle, of course. Still be a little bit of confidence for Jung So-hee. And this misses to the outside right. So you combine those last 2 putts together and you have a birdie. Both Jung So-hee and Pak Jeong will settle for a par at the 18th. The 72 today, even par for Jung So-hee, who finishes just outside of the top 10 after 3 rounds. Pak Bo-gyam still has the honors as our featured group begins their final hole of this moving day Saturday. For Kim Chae-hee, it is 6.1 meters between herself and a birdie, and she's got it. Back to back to end the day, 4 of them 5 of them, pardon me, altogether on this Saturday. Let's take another look. Slightly uphill with a left to right break. A sight to behold. Just as the green clears, one last drive. It's Kim Woo-jung. The hooping and hollering continues after that birdie at the 18th green, about half a kilometer down the line. And to conclude the first shots from our final group, it is Hang Jung-mi. Away they go. That's where they're headed. 321 meters away. We're very much in the finishing point of the season with the race to the WeMix Championship. Closer and closer with each passing day. After tomorrow, there is just 3 tournaments left in 2025 before the aforementioned WeMix Championship. Next week's Gwang Namulbo Happiness Championship. The S-Soil Championship starting on October the 30th, which will be our final 4-round affair of the season. All culminating in Sewon Hills at the Tabo House D Championship. All right, at long last, Hang Jung-mi is ready. 120 away from the pin. And we know that the flag is in the extreme left corner of the green. Hang Jung-mi avoiding the water and the bleachers, but in the free relief drop zone had she been at the seats anyways. This is Pak Bo-kyam. Straight shot. Over the logo, over the water, onto the green. Third and finally, Kim Woo-jung. Putting this into the wind. Approaching into the wind, pardon me, of course. We're one step ahead. This is starting well right. She might have caught that off the toe. Certainly classifies as a miss hit. That is a long way off. Expect the crowds in 22 hours to be filling the cart path. And we, based on the forecast, should have a bit of a warmer and maybe even a bit of a sunnier afternoon as we conclude this tournament at Lakewood. Which of these three, if any, will have a say in the final classification of the podium and perhaps even a winner? Third edition of this tournament, the second being played at the Lakewood Country Club. So Pak Bo-kyam is able to put in some kind of remarkable final round and win this tournament. She'll just prove that she loves this event, and it doesn't really matter where it's played. One stroke lead she had over Kim Soo-ji after 72 holes in 2024. It is starting to feel like it's going to be this close again in 2025. Jung-mi did not get underneath that nearly enough. In fact, she might have topped it. Be a dicey putt to avoid a bogey. Okay, Kim Woo-jung is ready. It would be the most improbable birdie of the week so far, and credit to her for making it interesting. Kim Woo-jung with 2 putts is there with the par. It's a 74 today, losing some ground on the top spots of the leaderboard. And she drops to 6 under after 3 rounds at this tournament. Ago, this was a putt to win a tournament. Today, it's a putt to start within 1. There's always an outside opportunity. Still, you could tell by her reaction as the ball approached the hole that she was simultaneously surprised and a little disappointed that she wasn't going to see 10 under after all. A day ago, Jung-mi was finished well before the rest of the field, and she had finished an almost untouchable score, it would have felt like. That's operating under the assumption that there would have been much more in the way of pars and birdies today. That was not the case. Gets out of here with 6 under. If she can make this putt right to left breaking, no. Too much movement to the inside. It is a par. And she finishes with a 76 today. Pardon me, a bogey at the last. +4. After being the leader from 36 holes is of course a bitter pill to swallow. And on these Pak Bo-gyam. Already she's done very well. Heading into the final group tomorrow as the defending champion in with a shot to successfully repeat as champion of the Sangsangin Hangyang Wownet Open. Just see the city of Yeongju peeking through the crowds and through the bleachers behind the 18th green. Let's quickly try to go through these third round highlights that begin on the 4th hole with Yool-lyn. Of course, we'll see her feature plenty. 4 birdies in the first 5 holes. Like, okay, that's pretty impressive. She deserves some praise. The thing was, though, ladies and gentlemen, she was not done. A career round, one that you'll tell as a fervent supporter your kids about, but I'm thinking about her future generations. Yeah, mom or grandma shot a 63 at Lakewood back in the day. So quickly she would move up the leaderboards, and it would be up to everyone else to try to just keep up the best that they could. Chung Yoon-ji with a putt at 5 from about 18 meters, I believe. Would make it 2 in her first 5 holes. She, of course, would be involved throughout the course of the day. Next shot that we see from her coming at the par 3 6th.
Okay.
Downhill iron shot with next to no wind. It's a good shot, but there was also no guarantee she'd make the putt, which is what makes this truly a highlight. She would get it done, and at the time it had been 4 players level at 9 under par and top spots. Over to 14. Yool-lyn from off the green plays a chip, not to set up a putt, but rather just to hole out and be done with it. Tell you what, she is stoic and poised. She must have known that she was on for something very, very unique today, but she didn't let it distract her or get in the way of her business. Okay, June on hole number 8 would go to 8 under, up towards the top 5, and then this at the 18th. You thought she was done? Oh, no, she was not. With one more. And the 31 out, a 32 in. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a 63, and will almost certainly be a course record, certainly for this tournament, maybe even for the course in general. Worthy of mentioning Hong Jung-min today. We were rightfully critical of her yesterday. She was rushing through putts and not really seemingly as engaged as she had been when she won a week ago. That was very much not the case today. The Saturday Hong Jung-min we saw matches last Sunday's Hong Jung-min where she was absolutely on top of everything, including back-to-back birdies at 15 and 16, closing the gap to 3 strokes. And while she couldn't birdie out, she would add 1 more thanks to this approach at the 18th, only 94 meters away. Backspin, just gliding towards the right and on the track. Still had something to prove with the putter, and she proved it. A 68, that's much more like it after her 73 yesterday. This was an opportunity to have 2 players at 11 under here on the 18th, but ultimately it was just not quite to be for Jung Min-ji, but still 68, 70, 68 is a very strong 54 holes. This was Pak Bo-gyum breaking hard right to left, and she will start her title defense tomorrow 2 strokes back. In a 3-way tie for 3rd with Hong Jung-min and Lee Jae-eun. Jung Yoon-ji, the runner-up after her 68 today, and Yool-lyn with her 63, 9 under par. Lee Dong-in, Park Hae-jun tied for 6th at 8 under. Park Shin-sil shoots a 68 today to reach 7 under with Park Young-kyung, Han Chin-sun, Sung Yoo-jin, Seo Rim, Park Jae-hee, and Park Jae-young. Only an even for Jung So-lee today, a 72 to stay at 6 under, and a 69 for that same 6 under score just beneath her. Time to go, at least for today, but don't worry, we'll be back tomorrow, and tomorrow's Championship Sunday. We're expecting a bit more sun, a bit more blue in the sky, and a whole lot of prizes to hand out by day's end. Can Yool-lyn go through and not just win this tournament, but win her very first as a professional? It is very much a possibility. Can Hong Jung-min go back-to-back? Can Pak Bo-gyum go back-to-back in her own way? After winning this title in 2024, can she do it at a different course again in 2025? All those stories and more are coming up tomorrow. Yool-lyn, the score to beat after 54 holes, and that's all from Lakewood Country Club. On behalf of our SBS Golf crew, I've been Adam Jenkins saying thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back on the air at the same time tomorrow when we crown a champion for a 3rd time at the Sangsangin Hanggyang Wownet Open. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, so long.